Boys and girls, we proudly present the Disney Songbook and the beloved songs and music of Disney legends Richard M. Sherman and Alan Menken. Now, please welcome your host for this evening, noted Disney historian and popular Disney event personality, Tim O'Day.
Applause. Thank goodness my PayPal account still works. Have you had a great day here at the D23 Expo? Well, I guarantee you're in for a very, very memorable night. Who's been looking forward to this for months? Imagine, think about this. It might sound cliched to say, but these two gentlemen, they have written the soundtrack, well, of our lives, whether you're 7 or 70. And it's truly amazing that they're sharing the stage for the first time. So, are you ready? Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome Disney legends Richard Sherman and Alan Menken. So guys, how's your day? All right, so I'm standing over here and I'm thinking to myself, we have a little bit of a problem. There are two of you and one of these. So what are we going to do?
Play four-handed? How about age before beauty?
Age before beauty. You got it.
And the beast.
Kid. Ladies and gentlemen, Alan Menken. Well, hello, Richard.
Very happy to be among my family again. The Disney folks, that's all my family.
I think you can leave that as. There you go. Perfect.
I want to be able to see everybody. These guys over here and these guys over here. So, good to be with you, Tim.
Good to be with you.
It's great.
How many of you have joined us before? What have you done? Well, we're going to throw a few new wrinkles into this, but you know, we were talking backstage. Let's start with, you refer to her as your good luck charm.
My lucky star. There was a lovely young lady. She was 15 years old. She stepped up to a microphone and she sang a little rocker back in 1958, long before many of you were born. And it was Annette Funicello. She had the last of the graduates of the Mouseketeers show, and they decided to give her some rock and roll songs to sing because she still was very, very popular. And so they heard a little ditty my brother Bob and I wrote, and she made a recording of it, and it started the Sherman brothers, really, with Disney. And I'll sing that in honor of my dear, dear friend, Annette Funicello. Writing on the wall, everybody knows it. I love Paul, tall Paul, tall Paul, tall Paul. He's my Paul. Chalk on the side, chalk on the side. Initials on a tree, initials on a tree. Everybody knows it, everybody knows it. Paul loves me. Tall Paul with the king-size arms. Tall Paul with the king-size charms. Tall Paul with the king-size kiss. He's my all. Now, if you're of a certain age, like you had a crush on Annette, and I love those old Annette Funicello record albums that had themes.
And they had the novelty songs on them, like, what was it? Pineapple Princess.
Pineapple Princess. Oh, yes. Now, Pineapple Princess was from an album which we worked on called Hawaiianette. One word. Clever stuff. Hawaiianette. And actually what we did was we wrote several songs and then we took some standards and made an album package. And it was a big, big seller. And I'll give you a little bit of Hawaiianette. What was it? Pineapple Princess. That's it. I saw a boy on Oahu Island, floating down the bay on a crocodile. He waved at me and he swam ashore, and I knew he'd be mine forevermore. Pineapple Princess, he calls me Pineapple Princess all day as he plays his ukulele on the hill above the bay. Pineapple Princess, I love you, you're the sweetest girl I've seen. Someday we're gonna marry and you'll be my pineapple queen. The next time it was a big hit, so they said, do another one. So we did an Italian-themed album, and it was called Italianette. And then we did a third one about dance music. We did Dancinette. And one day Annette said to us, what are you going to do next? Bassinet? And what was it? Kitchenette. And she was out of the house one day, kitchen. But we didn't do any more of those. That was enough of them.
When you got to Kitchenette, you have to end it. Yeah, you're over.
Peanut butter.
So let's talk about another little teenage idol that you worked with. Her name was Hayley Mills.
Oh, Hayley. Hayley was an incredible actress. And the trouble with that was we had written some songs for a film called The Parent Trap. You might know it was there was going to be a sequence where Haley and Haley, the two Haleys, would sing a duet together called Let's Get Together. It was kind of a subtle hint for the parents to get together. They were a divorced family. So basically, we had this recording session, and Haley was very hesitant. She was very afraid about doing anything. And I realized that she was not happy, so I said, what's the matter, dear? And she said, well, I'm an actress, I'm not a singer. And I said, but you are a wonderful actress. Well, she says, thank you. I said, why don't you act like you're a singer? She said, I can do that, I can do that. And she came out with a million-seller. Oh, I really think you're swell, we really ring the bell, ooh-wee. And if you stick with me, nothing could be greater. Say, hey, alligator, let's get together, yeah, yeah, yeah. Why don't you and I combine? Let's get together, what do you say? We could have a swinging time. We'd be a crazy team. Why don't we make a scene? Let's get together, yeah, yeah, yeah.
So you didn't have to write two songs for Hayley, just one.
Oh, she sang, you saw the picture, she sang both parts.
Yeah.
She just split herself in half. I don't know how they do it. Disney has this magical trick they can do.
Well, now, speaking of novelty songs, you wrote for Annette those novelty songs, and then you would get weird, strange assignments. Like you had an assignment to write a song about color.
Oh, yes, indeed. Walt was going to do something very daring. Yeah, you saw that, didn't you?
They see all of this coming, Richard.
It's my family, I told them, they all love it. But actually, Walt was going to do something very daring. Television back in 1961 was pretty much all black and white. There was no color television, but Walt was going to switch from ABC to CBS, or to NBC, that's it. And he was going to come up with a whole series of color telecasts, color shows, and he gave us the assignment of writing a song about color. That's a weird assignment, you know, you can write about a lot of things, but just color. So we came up with the song called The Wonderful World of Color, and it became the actual theme song of the show for many, many years. And it went something, it was a whole male choir, mixed choir sang it, and it went like this. Color, color, color. The world is a carousel of color. Wonderful, wonderful color. The blue rolling sea, the red summer rose, the gold
morning sun in the sky, the glorious vision of a rainbow, the bright autumn leaves on the ground. There's beauty untold that's ours to behold in the wonderful world of color, color, color.
Now, does that song bring back memories of Sunday nights at 7 o'clock? Now, did you have, this is a dumb question, but I'm going to ask it anyway. Back in, what was that, 61?
61.
Something like that? Could you imagine that almost 50 years later, it would be the theme song of a spectacular show at Disneyland?
Who'd have thunk it? It's amazing. No, I feel very thrilled about so many things that we've done at Disney. They became timeless because the Disney magic is on them. And like many times, people write songs for projects, shows, movies, and they're forgotten. They're used once and never again. But with Disney, it stays. It keeps going back and back and back. And that's one of the great blessings of writing for Disney. It really is.
Now, we were talking about these novelty songs and strange assignments. One time you got an assignment to tell the story of something being ugly.
Oh, yeah. There's a film we did for Disney called the Summer Magic. Summer Magic. You know Summer Magic. And it started, and a wonderful folk singer named Burl Ives, a great actor and singer. And I was a great fan of Burl Ives. He was a great performer. And we came up with a little idea for him. He was going to sing a song called The Ugly Bug Ball. And it was a cute idea. We liked it. It was kind of ragtime. It gave us a chance to write a different style than we usually wrote. And it was kind of marvelous. And Bob and I were tickled, except one day Walt said to us, you know, I don't like the word ugly. It's a negative word, and I think it sets me off. I'm not too happy. It's not the song. I just don't like the word ugly. And we were really kind of worried about it. And Bob came up, my brother, thank God, came up with it. He said, Walt, a rhinoceros, a guy rhinoceros, looks at a girl rhinoceros and says, she's the most beautiful thing I've ever seen. You know, and Walt said, well, if we can get that into the script. So basically what happened is Sally Benson, who was the script writer, wrote something of that into it, so we get to do Ugly Bug Ball. And I love that song, so I'm going to play that for you now. It's in ragtime. Once a lonely caterpillar sat and cried to a sympathetic beetle by his side. I've got nobody to hug, I'm such an ugly bug. Then a spider and a dragonfly replied, if you're serious and want to win a bride, come along with us to the glorious annual Ugly Bug Ball. Come on, let's crawl to the Ugly Bug Ball. And the happy time we'll have there, one and all. Then our caterpillar saw a pretty queen. She was beautiful in yellow, black, and green. He said, would you care to dance? That dancing led to romance. Then she sat upon his caterpillar knees, and he gave his caterpillar queen a squeeze. Soon they'll honeymoon, build a big cocoon, thanks to the Ugly Bug Ball. Come on, let's crawl, got to crawl to the Ugly Bug Ball, to the ball, and a happy time we'll have there, one and all at the annual Ugly Bug Ball.
There's a special little bear that holds a great,
Oh, yes,
you have a great affection for.
I love this little guy. Actually, we were given a wonderful assignment. An English author by the name of A.A. Milne. Some incredible, delightful stories with wonderful characters, all about a little stuffed teddy bear and his friends. And he wrote this for his little boy, Christopher Robin. And we had the great honor of being asked to write the music for that original Winnie the Pooh series. And so I'll play you the title song, which I just love. Deep in the 100-acre wood, where Christopher Robin plays, you'll find the enchanted neighborhood of Christopher's childhood days. A donkey named Eeyore is his friend, and Kanga and Little Roo. There's Rabbit and Piglet, and there's Owl. But most of all, Winnie the Pooh. Winnie the Pooh, Winnie the Pooh. Tubby little cubby all stuffed with fluff. He's Winnie the Pooh, Winnie the Pooh. Cubby.
Willie.
Thank you. Willy-nilly, silly old man. Come on, everybody. Tubby little cubby all stuffed with fluff. He's Winnie the Pooh, Winnie the Pooh. Willy-nilly, silly old bear.
Catch everybody singing, not only singing along, but as you were doing Winnie the heads were going on.
I think you saved me because I blacked out on that line. Willy-nilly, silly old bear. That's a clever line.
I know a genius that came up with that.
Blame Bob, I think, that time. I didn't write that one. I wrote the other one. I wrote Tubby Little Cubby, all stuff was love, that one. And he wrote Willy-nilly, silly old bear. We always split the copyrights, you know that one.
Oh, the secret is out. The secret's out.
We always did collaborate on words and music. Bob and I would sit there and tough it out together. And after all the blood was let, we'd have a song.
So one of my favorite segments of one of the Pooh featurettes is when Pooh does his stoutness exercises.
Oh, stoutness exercise, right. Well, actually, you know, he exercises for different reasons than you or I. We want to lose a few pounds, tone up the muscles, not Pooh. He has his own reasons. Up, down, up, down, up, down, up. When I up, down, and touch the ground, it puts me in the mood. Up, down, and touch the ground, in the mood for food. When I up, down, and touch the ground, I think of things to chew, like honey, milk, chocolate, with a hefty, happy appetite. I'm a hefty, happy Pooh.
Now, this next character we want to talk about, you have been described as being just like this character.
Me?
Yes, you.
A stuffed tiger? I? Everybody knows that a stuffed tiger isn't a tiger.
Well, what is
tiger, what is he? You bet your life. The wonderful thing about tigers is tigers are wonderful things. Their tops are made out of rubber. Their bottoms are made out of string. They're bouncy, 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 fun, 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 fun. But the most wonderful thing about tigers is I'm the only one. Tigers are wonderful fellas. Tigers are awfully sweet. Everyone else is jealous, and that's why I repeat and repeat. The wonderful thing about tigers is tigers are marvelous chaps. They're loaded with vim and the vigor. They love to leap in your laps. They're bumpy, jumpy, clumpy, bumpy, fun, 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 fun. But the most wonderful thing about tigers is I'm the only one. I'm the only one.
Bouncy, flouncy, all of that.
Bouncy, flouncy,
bouncy, flouncy. And you're pretty bouncy, flouncy too.
Oh.
And what birthday did you just celebrate?
I just celebrated my 85th birthday.
Tigger's doing great. Now, there was another film that you did that I know is one of your personal favorites, and that would be The Jungle Book.
Oh, I love it.
And recently, that film has been turned into a stage show, a highly acclaimed stage show so far.
I'm very excited about it.
Yeah, tell us a little bit about that.
Well, actually, Jungle Book was a great assignment because, see, Rudyard Kipling, the great English author, had written a marvelous book called Jungle Book, and it was a very serious dark story. It had a lot of mysterious things in it and grisly things that took place in the jungle. And Walt fell in love with the storyline, but he didn't like the tone, the attitude of it. And originally there was a series of entire screenplay created for it, and Walt rejected it out of hand. He didn't like it, but he wanted to do the story. So he asked several of us to come into his office one morning, and I remember there were story men there, there were directors and background people and all, and then Bob and I were the songwriters on the staff, so we were there, of course. And he said, how many of you fellows have read Rudyard Kipling's Jungle Book? And not a hand was raised. It was like being at school and you didn't do the assignment. You couldn't raise your hand. And he said, great, I'm glad you didn't do that because I don't want you to read that book. I want to tell you the story. And he did. The greatest storyteller of the last century by far was Walt Disney himself. He told the story. He was. He told us that morning how he wanted to see Jungle Book. And he became the different characters. He became Baloo the bear, and he became the king of the apes, and he became all these wonderful characters. And all of a sudden we were nuts about this story. We had to tell it right. And so one of the assignments, he said, take the scariest, grimmest story and have fun with it.
Well, Richard, one of the things that we talked about backstage, actually, you were going on and on and on about how much you love the stage show, this new stage show with the Jungle Book.
It's just wonderful. They've taken the score, the original score, plus Terry Gilchrist's song, which I always take bows for, and I didn't write, and that's The Bare Necessities. It's a great song. The one song we didn't write for the picture, but all the rest of the songs were Bob's and mine. And that score, plus new additional songs that Bob and I had written for a sequel, plus a few other things, are fattened out into this big stage production. And it looks so great. They have wonderful live cast, and I'm very excited about it. It'll be touring. I'm sure it'll be coming to these.
But we were talking, you kind of focused on the Vultures song. Oh, it was one of your favorite songs in the film, and they do it in the play as well.
Yeah, now there we were assigned to do a song that these vultures, vultures, they wait till something's dead, then they eat them, they eat the carrion. And it's kind of a grisly thing, so we decided, let's not do that kind of vultures. We'll have friendly vultures. We'll have vultures that want to be nice. And there's a little entendre in it. We did it as a barbershop quartet. So you've got to imagine a barbershop quartet with slightly Liverpudlian accents singing this thing. When you're alone, who comes around to pluck you up when you are down? And when you're outside looking in, who's there to open the door? That's what friends are for, and who's always eager to extend a friendly claw. That's what friends are for, and when we're lost in dire need, who's at your side at lightning speed? We're friends with every creature coming down the pike. In fact, we've never met an animal we didn't like. Didn't like, you got it, didn't you? So you can see we're friends in need, and friends in need are friends indeed. We'll keep you safe in the jungle forevermore. That's what friends are for.
And you and Bob really worked with some of the show business greats, two of them being Louis Prima, the great jazz man, and Phil Harris.
That's right, two great performers.
Now tell us about the recording session for the terrific song, I Want to Be Like You.
Oh.
How'd that go?
Well, that was a wonderful thing. Actually, Bob and I had written this song, The King of the Apes. We got the idea for him to be the king of the swingers because we were discussing, what does an ape really do? When he grunts, he goes, like that a lot. And he also swings in a tree. And I remember sitting there, we were talking about, what are we going to write for this guy? And as soon as the word swings in a tree came out, we said, he's the king of the swingers, not just the king of the apes, the king of the swingers, and his marauding monkey friends, they're his band. So we really got the thing of them. We cast it with Louis Prima and Sam Luther and the Witnesses, this great group of jazz men, and they were marvelous. And then Phil Harris played Baloo, and so we said we'll have a sequence where Baloo and the King of the Apes sing together. And we never could get the two of them together. So that's the story you want me to tell. So actually what happened was, we recorded just Louis Prima and Sam Butera filled in one place where they're doing the scat singing. That's the double talk sound words. And Scooby-Dooby-Doo, Ree-Ban-Naza, that kind of thing. And we just did the aping of it, and then that was just Scooby-Dooby-Doo, Scooby-Dooby-Doo. And Phil Harris, about 4 months later, when he finally got into the studio, was listening. He says, I can't sing that, that's not my kind of words, I can't do that. Willie Reitherman, our director, came out and said, Phil, look, do what you want to do, but just answer, you know. She says, oh, God, do that. And it became the most hilarious thing you've ever heard. So they're having a conversation in double talk. And I can't do all of that, but I'll give you an idea of what the song sounded like. Now, I'm the king of the swingers, oh, the jungle VIP. I've reached the top and had to stop, and that's what's bothering me. Now, I want to be a man cub and stroll right into town and be just like the other men. I'm tired of monkeying around and say, ooh, I want to be like you. I want to walk like you, talk like you too. You'll see it's true. It ain't like me, trying to learn to be you, man, too. I'll eat your mannerisms, we'll be a set of twins. No one will know where man cub is and orangutan begins. And when I eat bananas, I won't peel them with my feet, cause I'll become a man cub and get some ear keep. Say, ooh, I wanna be like you, I wanna walk like you and talk like you too. You see, it's true, shoo-ba-doo, and ain't like me, scoo-ba-doo-ba-dee-dee. Can learn to be human too. Can learn to be human too. One more time. Can learn to be human too. I wanna be like you.
Fumble getting a sentence out, and then he does this. Another great that you worked with was the great French song stylist Maurice Chevalier.
Oh, yeah.
And the Aristocats, on the Aristocats.
Oh, right. Well, actually, wonderful. Maurice Chevalier was the #1 French performer in the world. He was world famous. And I go history with that. My father was a songwriter, and he wrote big hits for Maurice Chevalier back in the 30s. He had a big hit called Living in the Sunlight, Loving in the Moonlight. That was my daddy's song. And I grew up listening to records of Maurice Chevalier. I used to love the sound of his voice and his personality. And then one day we got a chance with Walt to write some songs for his pictures, and we did the In Search of the Castaways, The Monkeys Go Home. We wrote special songs for those pictures. And then came the Aristocats. By this time, this was like early 1970. 71, Maurice had retired. He was getting up there, and he wasn't going to do any more. And our director of the film, Willie Reitherman, actually, was the one that said, Dick, you do that imitation of Chevalier. Why don't you make a demo of the way he sings it, and we'll send it to him. Maybe he'll come out of retirement for this purpose. And I said, I can't do an imitation for Chevalier to hear. He says, look, listen to me, do it that way, it'll be good. So I said, okay. So I'll give you a little sample of what I did for the Aristocats song, and I'll tell you the results afterwards, okay? Which gets address is the finest in Paris, which gets possess the finest pedigree. To which bets do the others tip their hats? Naturally, the Aristocats. That's all I'm going to do for you. With all the verses and all, and sent it off to Chevalier. Sure enough, he came out of retirement and he sang the main title and the end title of the song in English and French. He was wonderful. My wife and I happened to be in Paris about 3.5, 4 months after he recorded the song. And we were just coming out of a hotel, and there he was. Maurice and some people, and I said, Maurice, Richard Sherman, remember? Oh, yes, I remember you, of course. I said, well, my brother Bob and I are so thrilled that you did this recording, and it sounds so great and everything. Everybody in the studio is excited about it. And he said, well, thank you. He says, I love Walt Disney, and I did these for Walt Disney, and it's a very nice song. I said, well, thank you so much. And he said, I said, but there's one thing that bothers me. I did this terrible, thick, phony French accent on the album, on the record, and I apologize for that. He looked me right in the eye and said, accent? I heard no accent.
That little butt-up bump you just did there. Well, now, how many of you grew up on the film Bedknobs and Broomsticks? There's a song in that score that's very special to you. And tell us, and it was nominated for an Oscar. Tell us about that.
Actually, we were at the studio, and Walt had passed on, and we had come back into the studio after being away for a while. And we were asked to do some more songs for Bedknobs. They were about to shoot the film, and they needed a couple of sequences. And there was one place where a song was needed for the heroine, Eglantine Price, to sing about a little doubting Thomas, a little boy who didn't believe in magic, he didn't believe in anything, he was very disenchanted with life. And we were trying to think of, what are we going to write about? And we were saying, Walt isn't here anymore, and we used to always bounce our songs off of Walt first. We played them for him, and then he'd say, yeah, that'll work. That was our big praise. Yep, that'll work. And then we'd have it in the film. But in this case, we didn't have any Walt Disney to tell us. And so I remember it was one of us said, well, we got to start depending on ourselves, because we got to believe in ourselves. It's as simple as that. And I said, this little boy was going through the age of not believing. Oh yeah, but once you start believing in yourself, then you can do things. So we wrote this little song, and I'm very fond of it. When you rush around in hopeless circles, searching everywhere for something true, you're at the age of not believing, when all the make-believe is through. When you set aside your childhood heroes and your dreams are lost upon a shelf, you're at the age of not believing, and worst of all, you doubt yourself. You're a castaway where no one hears you, on a barren isle in a lonely sea. Where did all the happy endings go? Where can all the good times be? You must face the age of not believing, doubting everything you ever knew, until at last you start believing there's something wonderful, truly wonderful in you.
Now let's talk about the Disney parks a little bit.
The Disney parks, I've heard of those. I think we're in one of them right now.
And I want you to tell them the story. You've told me this before. There was a night that you and Elizabeth, your wife Elizabeth, happened to be at Disneyland.
Oh,
tell us that story.
It's a very touching story. Bob and I have been on the staff for about 3 years, and we had a pass. We could get into Disneyland anytime we wanted. And my wife Elizabeth and I were at the park one night, very late, and we had this most wonderful day. We had done all the rides, and it was just great. And at the end of the day, we just lingered on Main Street just before going out the old exit. When you used to go out, the parking lot was back there. And we saw a singular figure, practically empty park, and one figure was just walking down the road, looking into the windows of the stores. And I said, well, that's Walt, honey. Let's tell him how much fun we had tonight. So we waited for him to come, and he said, oh, Dick, Elizabeth. And we were talking for a minute, and I said, Walt, we just want you to know we had the most wonderful day today. It was just incredible. And at the end, when Tinkerbell was flying across the sky, and the music was playing, and the skyrockets were going off, I just started to cry like a baby, just happy tears, but they were just coming out of my eyes. And he said, you know, I do it every time. And this boy, and he said, right there when you go home, and he went up to the top of the fire station there. And I dearly remember that because he just loved the park. He loved the things in it. He loved what it symbolized. He loved what it meant, you know. There are happy endings. There's a good world out there. Nice, positive things. He was a very positive man.
This year happens to be the 50th anniversary of the very first song you wrote for Disney Parks.
Walt had a hobby. We thought it was a hobby. He had a thing he was very proud of, and he used to bring VIPs down to one of the sound stages. And in the corner of this sound stage was like a jungle room. And they would come in and they would see this thing that was going on. It was called audio animatronics. You know about them now, but not 50 years ago. And people would see orchids singing and birds, you know, standing on perches singing, and tiki torches going hugga bugga, hugga bugga, and all of a sudden it would rain, and they would see this show that they were creating for the Enchanted Tiki Room, and they would say, "It's great, Walt. What the heck is it?" You know, that's all they could say. And so we were called down one day to this room, and we were sitting on bridge chairs. I remember that. And the show started, and down came this cascade of birds singing. Let's all sing like the birdies sing. And we were listening to this thing. And at the end, when the rain stopped and everybody was happy again, we said, "Walt, it's great. What is it?" And he looked right at us and said, "You guys are going to write me a song that's going to explain all this." And so we said, "Yeah, okay, well, Walt, you have to believe. If we're going to write lyrics, you have to believe. It's too bad you don't have a parrot." He thought for about half a second. He said, "We won't have one parrot. We'll have 4 parrots. We'll have a Dutch parrot. We'll have a German parrot. We'll have a Spanish parrot." He was going through a whole conception. And he said, "What kind of a song are you going to write?" So we looked around, and it was kind of a tropical room. We said, "Well, a tropical song of calypso." So he said, "Yes, calypso. And what's it going to be called?" Well, Enchanted Tiki Room was a bit of a nothing title. It's a good title for the place, but song title, no. But tiki is a great word, and if you're a songwriter and you hear words like tiki, it's kind of good. And so I remember thinking, tiki, 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 that's a great sound, tiki, tiki, tiki. How about we call it the Tiki, Tiki, Tiki Room? He says, "That's it, when am I going to have the song? I need it." With that, we wrote the following song, which we've been playing now for 50 years, and we just...
Oh, they know this song. I'm sure they'll sing along.
I wish you would. Welcome to our tropical hideaway, you lucky people, you. If we weren't in the show starting right away, we'd be in the audience too. Everybody in the tiki, 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 tiki room, in the tiki, 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 tiki room. All the birds sing words and the flowers croon. That's the explanation. In the tiki, 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 tiki room.
Now, this next song you did many years later, but you always refer to it as the Song of the Imagineers, and it's from an attraction called Journey into Imagination.
Audio animatronics had come of age. They really were doing incredible things, and Tony Baxter had created this wonderful ride. One of our latest legends, he just today got made a legend, and he's going to have a window on Main Street. And anyhow, he was creating this journey into imagination. And he had a fellow called the Dream Finder and a little friend of his called Figment. Now, Figment is a figment of imagination. And we were asked to write a song that would sort of explain what this ride was going to be, this wonderful journey into imagination. And it now is like the Imagineers song, because we all have imaginations. And that's what it's all about. It takes one little spark of imagination to make wonderful things happen. And it starts like this. One little spark of inspiration is at the heart of all creation, right at the start of everything that's new. One little spark lights up for you. Imagination, imagination. A dream can be a dream come true with just that spark from me and you.
That I know is a favorite of Marty Sklar's wherever he might be.
Marty.
And I think, why don't you just play this, because I think everybody will recognize this as well.
Just an ordinary day, all at once you're on your way to a place that cannot be. No one knows what turns the key. You have found 1,000 eyes, whirling images arise. For a moment they are clear, in a flash they disappear. Magic journeys, mystic flights, on the wings of unexpected sounds and sights. Magic journeys, are they real? Do they mirror what we think or sense or feel? Neither dreaming nor pretending, no beginning and no ending.
Now, we were talking about the Tiki Room having a 50th anniversary. And there's another big anniversary next year.
Oh yeah, I know about that. How do they know? Pictures.
So Richard, I mean, good grief, 50 years ago. I mean,
I looked like Jason Schwartzman then.
Well, now let's talk about that. Now you have an involvement in saving Mr. Banks.
Oh yes, it's a very exciting movie. It's coming up.
And it must have been an odd experience to see your life being portrayed up on the screen by Jason Schwartzman, who plays Bob, I believe.
No,
Jason plays you, and B.J. Novak
plays Bob.
Right. How did that feel?
Well, it was eerie. It was kind of marvelous too, because they're reenacting a very key moment in our lives when this rather difficult lady who had created Mary Poppins, she was a brilliant writer, Mrs. Pamela Travers, came to the studio, and it's quite a tug of war between Walt Disney, who wanted to make the movie, and Mrs. Travers, who didn't want anybody touching her work. And it was something. Bob and I were caught in the middle of this thing, really. And Don DeGrati, the writer, the three of us had concocted a story, a way of telling her wonderful character, giving her character a purpose, because her stories never really explained anything. Just like Mary Poppins says, I never explained anything. And Mrs. Travers never explained why the stories were there. But we sort of pieced together 6 stories, and we made that into one story. And we had to use Mr. Banks as the foil to have the reason why Mary Poppins comes. Mr. Banks is too busy at the bank. And I'm giving away too much of the story, but you'll see.
Yeah.
You'll see the movie.
So one of the keynote songs for Mary Poppins is a song called A Spoonful of Sugar.
Right.
Right. And in the film, she sings it with a little bird.
Right.
And she sings it again with herself in the mirror.
Right.
And I think on this song, you might need a little help. So ladies and gentlemen, please welcome Jason Schwartzman and B.J. Novak.
You guys are really smart. You know, I saw them this morning. They were in a presentation, and they did a great job, by the way. guys, really. But the thing is that when they did the presentation, I saw them afterwards and I said, well, are you going to be here tonight? Because Alan and I are doing this concert. And they said, no, unfortunately, we're tied up. And I felt so bad because we never rehearsed it. This is completely ad lib, isn't it? Oh my goodness. So what are we going to do? Spoonful?
Yeah, I think we should do a little bit of spoonful of sugar.
Spoonful of sugar, you know that one.
I know it. You know it.
Oh.
If anyone else knows it, feel free to chime in with us on the chorus.
We need help, huh? In every job that must be done, there is an element of fun. You find the fun and snap the jobs again. And every task you undertake becomes a piece of cake, a lark, a spree. It's very clear to see that a spoonful of sugar helps the medicine go down, the medicine go down, medicine go down. Just a spoonful of sugar helps the medicine go down in the most delightful way. I like it so much I want to do another verse. Can you guys help again? And I love the accompaniment of the audience. That's great. Robin feathering his nest has very little time to rest while gathering his bits of twine and twig. Though quite intent in his pursuit, he has a merry tune to toot. He knows a song will move the job along. For a spoonful of sugar helps the medicine go down, the medicine go down, medicine go down. Just a spoonful of sugar helps the medicine go down in the most delightful way. I used to be young like that.
Yes, you did.
Once.
You didn't know about that, did you?
No, I didn't have any idea.
He didn't know about that. Honest. We're just trying to keep the show fresh.
I know, but my goodness, that was wonderful. A nice surprise. That was a wonderful.
Well, let's jump into your Oscar-winning song, Chim Chim Cheree.
Every song has an origin. I must say, real briefly, I mentioned the name Don DeGradi. Don DeGradi was an artist-writer. And one day, Bob and I walked into his office. We were working on Poppins, and there was a picture in the corner of one of his storyboards, and it was just a picture of a chimney sweep walking down Cherry Tree Lane, whistling and holding his brushes over his shoulder. And we said, "What is that?" And he said, "Well, in one of the chapters, there's a thing where Mary Poppins and the children are there, and she shakes hands with the sweep, and the children say, 'You got yourself dirty.' She says, 'Oh no, it's luck when you shake with a sweep.'" And we said, "Wow!" And as an idea for a song, wow, can you get better ideas? Never. This was a great idea. We said, "We got to write a song about that." And out came this little chimney sweep song. It became very near and dear to us because it won the Academy Award. Chim chimney, chim chimney, chim chim cheree. A sweep is as lucky can be. Chim chimney, chim chimney, chim chim cheroo. Good luck will rub off when I shake hands with you. Or blow me a kiss, and that's lucky too. Now as the ladder of life has been strung, you may think the sweep's on the bottommost rung. Though I spends me time in the ashes and smoke, in this whole wide world, there's no happier girl. Up where the smoke is all billored and curled, between pavement and stars, that's the chimney sweep's world. When there's hardly no day and hardly no night, this thing's half in shadows and halfway in light. On the rooftops of London, to what a sight! Chim chimney, chim chimney, chim chim cheree. When you're with a sweep, you're in glad company. Nowhere is there a more happier crew than them what sings chim chim cheree, chim cheree. Chim chimney, chim chim cheree, chim cheree. many reasons why this is very near and dear to me, but I think the most important reason is because of the fact that it's no secret. I mean, we love Walt Disney very much, and we were very fond of him as a human being, aside from being a great boss. And when we first played our ideas for Mary Poppins for Walt Disney, we played this song among a couple of other things that we'd written that we thought would work nicely for the picture. And we did a lot of talking that day. And I remember at the end of this meeting, a long meeting, he said, "Play me that Bird Lady song again." So I played it again. And he said, "That's the key to the whole story, isn't it?" He said, "That's right, Walt, that's it." And that's the day he put us under contract. So it means a lot to me. He did. That was the day that he put us under contract to him. And 10 greatest years of my life, working for Walt Disney. And of course, we've been connected ever since. But this is his song. And I used to go to his office every once in a while. Bob and I, on a Friday, we'd get a call. We'd come down there and we'd talk about what we were working on, of course. He knew what we were working on, but he still talked to us about it. And then he'd look out the north window and he'd say, of his office, and he'd say, "Play it." And I played it for him. Early each day to the steps of St. Paul's, a little old bird woman comes. In her own special way, to the people she calls, "Come buy my bags full of crumbs. Come feed the little birds, show them you care, and you'll be glad if you do. Their young ones are hungry, their nests are so bare. All it takes is tuppence from you. Feed the birds, tuppence a bag. Tuppence, tuppence, tuppence a bag. Feed the birds, that's what she cries, while overhead her birds fill the skies. All around the cathedral, the saints and apostles look down as she sells her wings. Although you can't see it, you know they are smiling each time someone shows that he cares. Though her words are simple and few, listen, listen, she's calling to you. Feed the birds, tuppence a bag, tuppence, tuppence, tuppence a bag.
Well, we could tell them what happened to us when we did that at Disneyland.
Oh, yeah. Well, let's tell them about that. Walt's 100th birthday, this is about 12 years ago. You had produced a show, and we had a lot of Imagineers came out and did speeches and talked about the projects and things that they had created. In honor of Walt, we were dedicating the wonderful statue by Blaine Gibson of Walt and Mickey. Is that up there?
It's coming up.
There's a picture where it's the beautiful partner statue. And we were dedicating it, and I remember I was asked to do songs we had written for the park. Some of the songs we had written for the park. So I played several things. And at one point, and there were 2,000 people in the street that day, in Main Street. And I was up on a riser with a white piano. And at one point, I turned around, and there was Walt and Mickey right behind me. And I said, "Folks, this next song is not for you. It's really, I'm doing it for Walt. This is his song, and I used to like to play this for him." And I proceeded to play Feed the Birds. And I got to the very end of it, where just tuppence with a little run on the piano. And one bird out of a cloud in the sky comes swooping right down over where I was playing the piano. Right, and then off again. And there was an intake of breath. 2,000 people went like that, all at one time. And then there was thunderous applause and everything. And I said, what was the gimmick? What happened? I didn't know there was a bird that came so far. And I came backstage afterwards and I said to Tim, what happened? And you told me.
I said, Walt visited us.
Walt visited us, and I thought that was a great moment. He said, I had difficulty believing that it happened until I saw the videotape. And there it was, one bird flew down out of the sky. And one time you told the story, you said the bird sat on the piano and winked at me. And I said, that's going a little far. But he did fly over, he really did. And I always feel Walt is with me, and he's with all of us, you know, that's true.
Well, speaking of Walt, let's close out by playing one of Walt's favorite songs. And it's a song that you wrote for Walt for an attraction that shows off Walt's great optimism.
Oh,
so
right.
let's close with that.
He was the futurist of all time, and we did a song for an attraction called the Carousel of Progress. And we even did a film on that, but it goes something like this. There's a great, big, beautiful tomorrow. Tomorrow, just a dream away. Man has a dream, and that's the star. He follows his dream with one heart, and when it becomes a reality, it's a dream come true for you and me. So there's a great, big, beautiful tomorrow, shining in the end of every day. There's a great, big, beautiful tomorrow. Just a dream away. So it kind of describes the great exuberance that I feel about being here, being part of this wonderful, wonderful organization, being part of your lives. And my brother Bob and I both thank you from the bottom of our hearts. My brother is watching from upstairs, making sure I don't make any mistakes. This is a little song we wrote that kind of describes the way we feel about the whole event. Because I was afraid to sleep when I was just alone. He followed me, he knows it, he told me I was bad. But then one day I learned the way he saved me, you know. The biggest thing with the way, and this is how it goes. Supercalifragilisticexpialidocious, even though the sound of it is something quite when you sing my horages, pass the time of day with me. I say this special word and then they ask me in the tea. Did anybody say it backwards? Can anybody say it backwards? Say it, let's do it. I heard it, it's Docious Ali, Expiistic, Tragic Cali, Rupus. If you can't say it, go into my bite your tongue. So when the cat has got your tongue, there's no need for the slave. Just summon up this word and then you've got a lot to say. But better use it carefully or it can change your life. One night I said to me girl, and now me girl's me wife. She's supercalifragilisticexpialidocious, supercalifragilisticexpialidocious, Docious Ali, Expiistic, Tragic Cali, Rupus, supercalifragilisticexpialidocious.
I think Richard said it best. He quoted the great Al Jolson and he said, "You ain't heard nothing yet." Ladies and gentlemen, Disney legend, Menken!
Wow. Wow. What an amazing tradition to be a part of. To be a part of the same company that the Sherman brothers were writing songs for and continue to write songs for. And I got to tell you, from the time I came out to Disney and Howard came out, nobody was sweeter or more supportive or more acknowledging of us than that wonderful man there, Richard Sherman. A mensch, a real mensch. So, here's where I began at Disney. Look at the stuff, isn't it neat? Wouldn't you think my collection's complete? Wouldn't you think I'm the girl who has everything? Look at this trove, treasures untold. How many wonders can one cavern hold? Looking around and you think, sure, she's got everything. I got gadgets and gizmos aplenty. I got who's-its and what's-its galore. You want thingamabobs? I got 20. But who cares? No big deal. I want more. I want to be where the people are. I want to see them dancing, walking around on those, what do you call them? Oh, feet. Flipping your fins, you don't get too far. Legs are required for jumping, dancing, strolling along down a, what's that word again? Street. Up where they walk, up where they run, up where they stay all day in the sun, wandering free. Wish I could be part of that world. When I came to Disney was actually through, I suppose, our show Little Shop of Horrors. That little off-Broadway show about man-eating plant. And, you know, after the success of Little Shop, Howard and I kind of went our separate ways for a bit. Not anything between us, because we continued to write together. But he was working on a show with Marvin Hamlish called Smile. And I was working with a man named Tom Ian, who wrote Dreamgirls, on a show called Kicks, the Showgirl musical. And so for me, you know, kind of the headline of the whole thing was, I'm getting back together with Howard. And in a way, you know, Little Mermaid is our follow-up to Little Shop of Horrors. Seaweed is always greener in somebody else's lake. You dream about going up there, but that is a big mistake. Just look at the world around you, right here on the ocean floor. Such wonderful things around you. What more is you looking for? Under the sea, under the sea. Darling, it's better down where it's wetter. Take it from me. Up on the shore they work all day. Out in the sun they slave away, while we devoting full time to floating under the sea. I admit that in the past I've been a nasty. They weren't kidding when they called me, well, a witch. To find that nowadays I've mended all my ways. Repent and see the light and made the switch. True, yes. And I fortunately know a little magic. It's a talent that I always have possessed. And here lately, please don't laugh, I use it on behalf of the miserable, lonely, and depressed, pathetic, poor, unfortunate souls in pain, in need. This one longing to be thinner, that one wants to get the girl, and do I help them? Yes, indeed. Those poor, unfortunate souls, so sad, so true. They come flocking to my cauldron, crying, spells are so pleased that I help them. Yes, I do. Les poissons, and serve little fish. First I cut off their heads, and I put out the bones. Ah mais oui, ça c'est toujours de fish. Les poissons, hi hi hi, oh, with the cleaver I hack them in two. I pull out what's inside, and I serve it the pride that I love little fishies. Don't you? There you see her, sitting there across the way. She don't got a lot to say, but there's something about her. And you don't know why, but you're dying to try. You wanna kiss the girl. Yes, you want her. Look at her, you know you do. Possible she wants you to. There is one way to ask her. It don't take a word, not a single word. Go on and kiss the girl. Sha-la-la-la-la-la, don't be scared. You got the mood prepared. Go on and kiss the girl. Sha-la-la-la-la-la, don't stop now. Don't try to hide it. How you wanna kiss the girl? Sha-la-la-la-la-la, float along and listen to this song. The song said kiss the girl. Sha-la-la-la, the music played. Do what the music say. Go on and kiss the girl. You gotta kiss the girl. You wanna kiss the girl. Put together a lot of stuff for you guys. Some you know, and some you don't know. Or might know. So, Little Mermaid became a Broadway show. I should take first of all, let's talk about the Oscars, shall we? That was amazing. You know, we won 2 Oscars for Little Mermaid, for Best Score and for Best Song for Under the Sea. And, it was an amazing experience. But Howard Ashman and I had been there once before, which was for Mean Green Mother from Outer Space from Little Shop of Horrors. And I remember going to I think it was the Dorothy Chandler Pavilion, and, you know, sitting in this seat in the middle of a row, you know, and it just seemed enormous. It seemed this big, and this, of course, this is bigger, but it seemed like it was just immense. And Levi Stubbs came out and sang Mean Green Mother from Outer Space and brought the house down. And I turned to Howard and I said, "Oh my God, what, I mean, if we win, I mean, what?" He says, "You can relax. You're not getting any awards tonight." But a few years later, when we were there for Little Mermaid, the seat was right there on the aisle. So for the Broadway show of Little Mermaid, which is also, by the way, is playing now all over the world. It's a fabulous production in Russia and an amazing production in Tokyo. And so my friends from Tokyo are here tonight, I know. And we have a lot of new songs by my collaborator, one of my collaborators, a wonderful lyricist named Glenn Slater. So here's some songs you may or may not know from the Broadway show, the stage musical of Little Mermaid. Song for Ariel's unspoken message to Eric. In Act 2, she's lost her voice and she can't speak, but we hear her sing her inner thoughts. If only you could know the things I long to say. If only I could tell you what I wish I could convey. It's in my every glance, my heart's an open book. You'd see it all at once, if only you would look. All my secrets, you would learn them. All my longings, you'd return them. Then the silence would be broken. Not a word would need be spoken. Then there's the moment when her sisters, Ariel's sisters and Flounder, notice that she's in love. She's busy and she's dreamy, her head's up in the foam, her eyes are gone all gleaming, it's like there's no one home. She floats away the days, moping on the coastal shelf. Is she ill or insane? Is it water on the brain? What has got her bothered so? It's the bends, it's the flu, God, I wish we had a clue. Oh wait, oh dear, good grief, it's clear she's in love. She's in love, pounding heart, ringing bells. Look, I think she's even wearing brand new shells. She's in love, and it's divine. That girl's on Sandbar 9, glory be, Lord above. Got to be, she's in love. And we even got a song for Prince Eric, finally. Turned him into a three-dimensional character. Where did she go? Where did she be? When will she come again? Calling to me, calling to me, calling to me. Somewhere there's a girl who's like the shimmer of the wind upon the water. Somewhere there's a girl who's like the glimmer of the sunlight on the sea. Somewhere there's a girl who's like a swell of endless music. Somewhere she is singing and her song is meant for me. And her voice is sweet as angels sighing. And her voice is warm as summer sky. And that sound, it haunts my dreams, spins me round until it seems I'm flying. Her voice, strange as a dream, real as the sea. If you can hear me now, come set me free, come set me free. So, our animated musical after Little Mermaid, of course, was and in many ways we got more ambitious with beauty. And Howard and I, we wrote this opening number, and you know, it was 7 minutes long, and it started. First came out of this prologue and into Belle's cottage, and then she comes out of her cottage and she's talking about this little provincial town, and she walks into the town and the people are coming out of the windows and they're saying, bonjour, bonjour, and she's so unusual, isn't she? And she goes to the bookstore and then she talks about, isn't it amazing? She's looking at her book, and then there's Gaston, and Gaston, you know, crush on her, and then there's caramelities, and there's all this stuff going on. And I remember Howard saying, we can't send this to them. Who asked for a 7-minute opening number? I hate it. And of course it worked out okay. There goes the baker with his tray like always, the same old bread and rolls to sell. Every morning just the same, since the morning that we came to this poor provincial town for morning bell. Oh, isn't this amazing? It's my favorite part, because you'll see, here's where she meets Prince Charming, but she won't discover that it's him till chapter 3. Now it's no wonder that her name means beauty, her looks have got no parallel. But beyond that fair facade, I'm afraid she's rather odd, very different from the rest of us. She's nothing like the rest of us, yet different from the rest of us. Here's Belle. heard of beyond. No one's been like Gaston, a kingpin like Gaston. No one's got a slump left in his chin like Gaston. And the specimen, yes, I'm intimidating. I let a guy that's Gaston. Our guest, but our service to the test. I am napkin round your neck, showing that room for my business. It's sure how to serve, how they own it as a serve. How the great stuff looks delicious. Don't believe me, ask the dishes they can sing, they that. And the all business is bread, and the days never second best. So on a golden egg, take a glance and then you'll be our guest, be our guest, be our guest. Old as time, true as it can be. Barely even friends, then somebody bends unexpectedly. Just a little change, small to say the least. Both a little scared, neither one prepared. Beauty and the Beast. Ever just the same, ever a surprise, ever as before, ever just as sure as the sun will rise. Tale as old as time, tune as old as song, bittersweet and strange, finding you can change, learning you were wrong. Certain as the sun, rising in the east, tale as old as time, song as old as rhyme, Beauty and the Beast. Tale as old as time, song as old as rhyme, Beauty and the Beast. Songs to play. I gotta keep them coming. Okay. So the first of actually the Disney shows to come to Broadway was Beauty and the Beast. I remember being kind of concerned when I heard about that, and I was told that we're bringing Beauty to Broadway. I thought, what is a Disney musical going to be like? You know, is it going to be like harsh shows? Or are we going to have like the foam heads? I mean, there's nothing wrong with those, by the way. Give me a little laugh on that. Okay. But it was so much more than that. And it was Rob Roth, this young director, put together a wonderful team of designers, and Tim Rice of I had known him from his work with Andrew Lloyd Webber, and he's somebody I was thrilled to work with him. So he came aboard. I should, of course, say that Howard Ashman had passed away by this time. And one of the great things that we got to get in this musical was, first of all, to take a lost Ashley Menken song and resurrect it and put it into the musical. It's a song we wrote for the movie called Human Again. And it traced, you know, as the characters, as the objects, see Belle and the Beast falling in love, they're thinking, I think there's hope, we're going to be human again. And days pass, and weeks pass, and months pass, and you see them, they're getting closer and closer, and seasons are passing. And the only one problem is that prior to the song, Maurice was in the woods, and apparently Maurice has been lying in the woods the whole time. long gone. So we had logistical issues about that in the movie, but for the show we actually figured it out and made some changes, and we were able to get that song into the show. And then there's a song that Tim Rice and I wrote for the Beast, and again, right with in Broadway show Little Mermaid, to be able to get the Beast to sing is so important. So, I don't know if I performed this song in public before. It's a little rigorous. Let's see how I do it. I'll be cooking again, good looking again, with a mademoiselle on each arm. When I'm human again, only human again, poised and polished and gleaming with charm. I'll be courting again, chic and sporting again, which should cause several husbands alarm. I'll hop down on the shelf and to sweet me myself, I can't wait to be human again. When we're human again, only human again, when we're knickknacks and whatnots no more. Little push, little shove, they can whoosh, fall in love, ah chérie, won't it all be top drawer? I'll wear lipstick and rouge, and I won't be so huge, but I'll easily fit through that door. I'll exude savoir-faire, I'll wear gowns, I'll have hair, it's my prayer to be human again. When I'm human again, only human again, when the world once more starts making sense, I'll unwind for a change, and it has to be strange, can I help it if I'm too tense? In a shack by the sea, I'll sit back sipping tea, let my early retirement commence. Far from fools made of wax, I'll get down to brass tacks and relax when I'm human again. So sweep the dust from the floor, let's let some light in the room. I can tell someone might break the spell any day now. Shine up the brass on the door, alert the dust pail and broom. If it all goes as planned, our time may be at hand any day now. Open the shutters and let in some air, put these here and put those over there. Sweep up the years of sadness and tears and show them away. When we're human again, only human again, when the girl finally sets us all free, she's a blooming again, we're assuming again, we'll resume our long lost prodigy. We'll be playing again, holidaying again, and we're praying it's ASAP. When we cast off this pall, we're set straight, we'll walk tall, when we're all what we were, thanks to him, thanks to her, coming closer and closer and closer and closer and closer and closer, and we'll be dancing again, we'll be whirling again, we'll be twirling around with such ease. When we're human again, only human again, we'll go waltzing, those old 1, 2, 3. We'll be floating again, we'll be gliding again, stepping, shredding as fine as you please, like a real human does. I'll be all that I was on that glorious morn when we're finally reborn, and we're all what's human again. And in my twisted face, there's not the slightest trace of anything that even hints at kindness. And for my tortured shame, no comfort, no escape. I see but deep within his utter blindness, hopeless, as my dream dies, as time flies. No beauty could move me, no goodness improve me, no power on earth if I can't love her. No passion could reach me, no lesson could teach me how I could have loved her and made her love me too. If I can't love her, then long ago I should have seen all the things I could have been. Careless and unthinking, I moved onward. No pain could be deeper, no life could be cheaper. No point anymore if I can't love her. No spirit could win me, no hope left within me. Hope I could have loved her and made her loved, and she set me free. But it's not to be if I can't love her. Let the world be done with me. You may get the added benefit of seeing a man get a stroke tonight, too. I'm kidding. I'm kidding. Next! I wouldn't have these papers, I wouldn't know what I'm doing. Aladdin. So, wow, what a path for Aladdin. We started Aladdin pretty much the same time as Little Mermaid, and it went through a lot of changes. Our original version of Aladdin, which is actually very, some of these things are reflected in what we are doing now in the stage adaptation of Aladdin, we'll talk about later. But Aladdin had three sidekicks, Badcat, Omar, and Cassim. Aladdin had a mother. Imagine that. When those changes happened, Howard, again, unfortunately was gone. And Tim Rice, who wrote that last lyric from Beauty and the Beast, came and helped me to complete the score for Aladdin. So here's a couple things from Aladdin. Oh, I come from a land, from a faraway place, where the caravan camels roam, where it's flat and immense and the heat is intense. It's barbaric, but hey, it's home. When the wind's from the east and the sun's from the west, and the sand and the glass is right, come on down, come on in, let the magic begin. It's another Arabian night, Arabian nights, like Arabian days, more often than not, hotter than hot in a lot of good ways. Arabian nights, like Arabian noons, a bull off his guard could pull and ball hard out there on the dunes. One jump, head of the bread line, one swing, head of the sword. I steal only what I can afford, that's everything. One jump, head of the lawman, that's all, and that's no joke. These guys don't appreciate I'm broke. Riff-raff, street rat, scoundrel, take that. Just a little snack, guys. Rip him open, take it back, guys. I can take a hint, got a face of facts. Your only friend, Boo. Who? Riff-raff, street rat, I don't buy that. If only they look closer, would they see a poor boy? No, siree. They find out there's so much more to me. He had 1,000 towns. Mister, you in luck, cause up your sleeve you got a brand of magic never fails. You got some power in your corner, now and every ammunition in your camp. You got some punch possessed, yeah, who and how's all you gotta do is rub that lamp. Then I'll say, Mr. Aladdin, sir, what will your pleasure be? Let me take you on a shot it down. You ain't never had a friend like me, no, no, no. Life is your restaurant, and I'm your maitre d'. I love my job, you big name Bob, you ain't never had a friend like me. Wow, oh no, yeah, you ain't never had a friend, never had a friend, you ain't never had a friend like me. You know, there's so many stories to tell about all these movies and all these shows, and unfortunately, or fortunately, I chose to play you a lot of songs. So, the amazing Robin Williams and the amazing Angela Lansbury and Jerry Orbach for Beauty, and from all these people and all these experiences we had. I mean, for me, those three projects, the essence, it was Howard Ashman. And the Howard Ashman we all know he was gone too soon. Brilliant guy, brilliant collaborator, wonderful friend. And so somewhere in there, amongst all these other projects, I had a big fat flop movie. It's this movie about newsboys. Nobody wanted to see it. It's like, you know, I think they 2.6 million at the box office, which is kind of like nothing. I remember sitting with Jeffrey Katzenberg, because they were pulling ads and saying, Jeffrey, I mean, you know, it's a good movie. I mean, it's good. He said, Menken, I can take $10 million and throw it up in the air here at Tahiti Boulevard, it would do just as much good. It's DOA, and it was. He's right. It was DOA. I wrote that with Jack Feldman. Jack actually was one of the writers of Copacabana with Barry Manilow, and I knew him for years before. But anyway, we accepted the fact that things got luck. And then, guess what? Crazy, huh? Crazy. It's a generation just would not let go of it. And, you know, they were putting it on in camps, and I'd walk into a mall and there'd be a flash mob doing Seize the Day. Or what's going on? And you know, Tom Schumacher noticed, very smartly noticed, and we said, you know, okay, you know, we're not going to make this a Broadway show, that's not that crazy. we'll put it out in stock in amateur. So at least we'll have a version that can go around the country. And well, make it more sort of short. You know, we did our work. A force named Harvey Firestein came along and helped us out. It's on Broadway now. Try Bottle Alley or the Harbor. Try Central Park, it's guaranteed. Try any banker, bum or barber. They almost all knows how to read. I smell money, you smell foul. Met this girl last night. Move your elbow past the towel for a buck I might.
washing dishes, what a fine life. Carrying the banner home for y'all. A pair of new shoes with matching laces, permanent box at the sheets and braces, porcelain jug with Portland water, Saturday night with the mayor's daughter. Look at me, I'm the king of New York. Suddenly, I'm respectable, staring right at you, lousy with stature. I'm in with all the marketing mucks. I'm blowing my dough and growing these lucks. And there I be, ain't I pretty? It's my city, I'm the king of New York. They say folks is dying to get here. Me, I'm dying to get away to a little town out west that's spanking new. And while I ain't never been there, I can see it clear as day. If you want, I bet you can see it too. Close your eyes, come with me, where it's clean and green and pretty, and they went and made a city out of clay. By the minute that you get there, folks will walk right up and say, welcome home, son, welcome home to Santa Fe. Planting crops, splitting rails, flapping tails around the fire, except for Sunday when you lie around all day. So your friends are more like family, and they're begging you to stay. Ain't that neat, living sweet in Santa Fe? Don't you know that we's a family? Would I let you down? No way. Just hold on, kid, till that train makes Santa Fe. Pocahontas. Well, first of all, I mean, Pocahontas is my first project working with Stephen Schwartz. Stephen, of course, is an amazing composer and lyricist. He wrote Godspell, and he had, before he wrote Godspell, Pippin, Magic Show. Afterwards, he wrote Wicked. I like the things because he worked with me. You know, I'm going to play some songs of Pocahontas. I guess a song here that was a cut song that never got in. Would you like to hear it? Stephen does a lot of research. He tends to really do that. And so this song has a lot of Indian language in it. So you may see me stumbling pitifully over some of the phrases. Here's some things. First a cut song, and then some songs you know. Actually, no. Cut song, a song that was cut from the movie and then made it back in when it would be released. And then another song I believe you know pretty well. When the land is full of anger, when the fists of hate are shook, when there is no common ground to be found, where to look? Nakusawati dea, Noah took. Nakusawati dea, Noah took. I made it. We will live in the middle of a river. We will hide in the heart of the cloud. That's the place where we can be together. We'll be there somehow. I would sail to the sources of the ocean. I would climb to the foot of the stars. That's what it takes for us to be together. We will live in the middle of the river. If I never knew you, if I never felt this love, I would have no inkling of how precious life can be. And if I never held you, I would never have a clue how at last I find in you the missing part of me. And this world so full of fear, full of rage and lies, I can see the truth so clear in your eyes. So dry your eyes, and I'm so grateful to you. I'd have lived my whole life through, lost forever, if I never knew you. You think you own whatever land you land on. The earth is just a deck that you can claim. But I know every rock and tree and creature has a life, has a spirit, has a name. You think the only people who are people are the people who look and think like you. But if you walk the footsteps of a stranger, you'll learn things you never knew, never knew. Have you ever heard the wolf cry to the blue-corn moon, or asked the grin and bobcat why he grinned? Can you sing with all the voices of the mountain, and you paint with all the colors of the wind? You can own the earth and still all you'll own is earth, until you can paint with all the colors of the wind. I won my 7th and 8th Oscars for that. And those years were incredible. I actually thought they gave out Oscars in pairs. You know, first was The Mermaid 2, then The Year of Beauty. There was Best Score and Beauty and the Beast. And when I went backstage, by the way, a Razzie. Yeah, Razzie, the worst song of the year for High Times, Hard Times from Newsies. I didn't mind it. I liked it. I just wish they gave me sort of a Razzie. I don't know what would a Razzie statue look like. And then for Aladdin, we won Best Score and Best Song for a song I'm going to play a little later. And we won, and of course, winning Grammys during those years, and Golden Globes. And then came this movie, Hunchback of Notre Dame. I hit the expiration date on that whole thing, or something. In Paris, the city awakes to the bells of Notre Dame. The fisherman fishes, the bakerman bakes to the bells of Notre Dame. To the big bells as loud as the thunder, to the little bells soft as the sun. And some say the soul of the city is the toll of the bells of Notre Dame. Hungry from birth, show them the mercy don't find on earth. God help my people, they look to you still. God help the outcast, nobody will. Safe behind these windows and these parapets of stone, gazing at the people down below me. All my life I watched them as I hide up here alone, hungry for the histories they show me. All my life I memorized their faces, knowing them as they will never know me. All my life I wonder how it feels to pass a day above them. project after that was Hercules. Hercules' time is coming somehow.
I'm gonna die.
And Hercules' project I wrote with David Sybil. Wonderful lyricist. Dan wrote City of Angels, Broadway show. He wrote Mulan. And John Musgrove and Ron Clements, who had directed, as you probably know, Little Mermaid and Aladdin, said, you know, I think we want to do this as a gospel. Gospel. Greek gods and all that. He said, well, you know, gospel is the music of gods, and you know that. Like when the world was new, the planet Earth was down on its luck, and everywhere gigantic roots full titans ran amok. It was a nasty place. It was a mess wherever you stepped, where chaos reigned and earthquakes and volcanoes never slept. And then along came Zeus, he hurled his thunderbolts, dapped like those suckers in a vault, trapped in on his own stuff, chaos in its tracks. And that's the gospel, the guy was too tired, made to just relax. And that's the world's first fish to take the globe while still in his youth. Though honey it may seem impossible, that's the gospel truth. Bless my soul, Herc was on a roll. Person of the week in every Greek opinion poll. What a pro, Herc could stop the show. Pulling him out of Monday and you're talking SRO. He was a no one, a zero. Now he's a honcho, he's a hero. It was a kid with the dark down pat. Hero to hero in no time flat. Hero to hero, just like that. I've often dreamed of a far-off place where a hero's welcome will be waiting for me, where the crowds will cheer when they see my face, and a voice keeps saying, this is where I'm meant to be. I will find my way, I can go the distance, I'll be there someday. If I can be strong, I know every mile will be worth my while. When I go the distance, I'll be right where I belong. So I'll never forget, I had a dinner with Peter Schneider and Tom Schumacher, and took me out to dinner to talk to me about my next project. You know, and I've written projects, I've written, you know, animated films for princesses, and I've written animated films for Greek gods. And Tom said, and Peter said, I think we're going to write one for cows. You know, it was called Sweating Bullets, and then it became Home on the Range. Again, I worked with Glenn Slater. Not many people saw it. I think it's worth seeing, right? And I was so, the greatest thing about it, first of all, the cattle drive. Let's talk about the cattle drive. I got to go on a authentic 19th century cattle drive. No electricity, sleeping on the ground, and this was our research. You haven't lived until you've seen a bunch of animators on a cattle drive. It's really amazing. And I got to work with really amazing artists like Katie Lang. I know a place, pretty as pie, out where the river bend heads up at the end of the sky. It's left in Nebraska and over a crest on a little patch of heaven out west. Everything's green,
nothing much out there, just life at its best on that little patch of heaven way out west. Then, of course, the other memories I have, besides Tom Schumacher in his white fuzzy chaps, which is delightful to see, was I got to write a song, a yodeling song. You see, I yodel, ladle, 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 ladle. The sweetest way of wrestling yet devised. Cause when I yodel, ladle, 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 ladle. Well, look at how the cows get hypnotized. He don't prod, he don't yell, still he drives the doggies well. Which say easy when your chops are labeled XXXXL. Yes, if you're looking from a bovine point of view, I sure can yodel, ladle, 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 ladle. Everybody know. That's a work of Bonnie Ray. I wrote this song. And one thing about the song, besides the experience of working with Bonnie and putting it into the movie in a good place, I think, this song got written very shortly after the 9/11 attack, and for all of us, it somehow encapsulated that. I don't know why, but somehow we tried to write, a lot of songwriters tried to write something that expressed how they felt about it, and somehow this song, in a movie about cows, did it for me. Rain is pouring down like the heavens are hurt. Seems like it's been dark since the devil knows when. How do you go on, never knowing for certain? Will the sun ever shine again? Feels like it's been years since it started to thunder. Clouds are camping out in the valley and glen. How do you go on when you can't help but wonder? Will the sun ever shine again? What if the rain keeps falling? What if the sky stays gray? What if the winds keep squalling and never go away? Maybe soon the storm will be tired of blowing. Maybe soon it all will be over, amen. How do you go on if there's no way to go? Will the sun ever shine? Wish I could say, send me a sign, one little ray. Lord, if you're listening, how long until then? Will the sun ever shine again? Enchanted. You know, sometimes projects are in a sort of a development phase, and they just go on for years. I had heard about this project. It sounded great. I was salivating. I wanted hopefully to be a part of it. And actually, one of the original concepts was, I think, to do parodies of Howard and my songs, and also other kind of Disney songs. So I'm very pleased that I got hired to parody my own songs and some other ones, or I should say pastiche and parody. Look them up. Look at the dictionary. There must be a difference. But we went through so many writers and directors, and somehow it just kept being delayed. And I guess maybe it was fate, because when we finally did do it, it was Stephen Schwartz as the lyricist and Kevin Lima directing. It was just time for this young actress named Amy Adams to come in. When you meet with someone who was meant for you, for two can become one, there's something we must do. Do you pull each other's tail? Do you beat each other's teeth? No. There is something sweeter everybody needs. I've been dreaming of a true love's kiss, and a prince I'm hoping comes with this. That's what brings ever
Just find who you love through true loves. Come, my little friends, as we all sing a happy little working song. Merry little voices, clear and strong. Come and roll your strings up, so to speak, and pitch in. Bleeding run up in the kitchen as we sing along. Still a cheery tune in the stub as you scrub a stubborn nail to stain. Pluck a hair from the shower drain to the gay refrain of a happy working song. Ah, a happy working song. Disney and cleaning. The opening song of the next movie I worked on involved a lot of cleaning too. And that project was Tangled. And like Enchanted, I mean, it was around for quite a while. In fact, I had heard that actually Rapunzel was on Walt's wish list going all the way back. And again, I'm 7, I was an ear to the ground, and I was kind of hoping maybe it would come around. And I was so blessed and pleased that John Lasseter asked me to come and work on Tangled. And it's the first CGI animated musical. It's 3D. And I found out that it's also the most popular princess, I'm told, that Rapunzel actually is. It's an amazing thing. Glenn Slater wrote lyrics on this with me. 7 a.m. the usual morning lineup. Start on the chores and sweep till the floor's all clean. Polish and wax, do laundry and mop and shine up. Sweep again, and by then it's like 7:15, and so I'll read a book, or maybe 2 or 3. I'll add a few new paintings to my gallery. I'll play guitar and knit and cook, and basically just wonder when will my life begin. Tomorrow night, the lights will appear, just like they do on my birthday each year. What is it like out there where they glow? Now that I'm old, Mother might just let me go. Mother knows best. Listen to your mother. It's a scary world out there. Mother knows best. One way or another, something will go wrong, I swear. Ruffians, thugs, poison ivy, quicksand, cannibals, and slaves to play. Also large bugs, men with pointy sticks, and stop no more, you'll just upset me. Mother's right here, Mother will protect you, darling is what I suggest. Skip the drama, stay with Mama. Mother knows I'm malicious, mean, and scary. Fear can hurdle dairy, and violence white. My hands are not the cleanest, but despite my evil look, and my temper, and my hook, I've always learned to be a cartoonist. And you see me on the stage performing Mozart, tickling the eyes until they gleam. Yep, I've got me called deadly for my killer show too deadly. Thank you! Cause way down deep inside I got a dream. I got a dream. I got a dream. See, I ain't as superstitious as I seem. No, I feel like taking fingers. You tell me with a dreamer. It's like everybody else, I got a dream. All those days watching from the windows, all those years outside looking in, all that time never even knowing just how blind I've been. Now I'm here blinking in the starlight. Now I'm here suddenly see, standing here it's so clear where I'm meant to be. And at last I see the light, and it's like the sky is shifting. And at last I see the light, and it's like the world is new. And it's warm and real and bright, and the fog at last has lifted. now that I see you. I'm looking at the time. I don't know. So, here's the two little quirky things. First of all, a snippet from a song I wrote for Captain America. I was asked if I could write a song for this Bond drive at Captain America, and it was going to be in the style of kind of an Irving Berlin patriotic song. Again, with David Zippel, a little snippet of a song called Star Spangled Man with a Plan. Who's strong and brave here to save the American way? Who has to fight like a man for his right night and day? Who will campaign door to door for America? Carry the flag shore to shore for America from Hoboken to Spokane. The Star Spangled Man with a plan. Dan Fogelman, who wrote the book for the book for Tangled, created a series on ABC called The Neighbors. Anybody know The Neighbors? And he asked if Glenn and I would write a song for the musical episode for the show. And in The Neighbors, basically, for those who don't know the premise, this family moves to a very nice condominium community, and everything's perfect, and they love it, except the neighbors are very strange. They're really strange people. It turns out, of course, the neighbors are actually aliens in human form. And in this episode, the aliens, they, by the way, they're clueless. They're clueless about our planet. And they go off to see a Broadway show. They sneak off to see a Broadway show, and they come back all enamored with Broadway. And they want to know what are the other things they can learn about the planet, given that now they've experienced Broadway shows, which they say are the best that our planet has to offer. I'm really pleased. I was nominated for an Emmy for this song. Glenn and I were. And if we win, then I actually become an EGOT. I forgot to mention, I won a Tony for Newsies, which was a thrill for me. But actually, as my agent pointed out, actually I would be the very first REGOT, because I have the rasp too. There's so much out there we should know, and yet you never let us go. If we could do things, big spanking new things. Oh, I should add one thing. Sorry. The model. See if you can guess the model for what the song is. I think you will once you hear the van. There's so much out there we should know, and yet you never let us go. If we could do things, big spanking new things, life would be big, bold, and bright as a Broadway show. Got it? I want to get a circumcision. I want to hitchhike to LA. Drinking in dive bars, I give it 5 stars, more or less like what you probably see on Broadway. I want to use a public restroom, then try all 50 shades of gray. Something to thumbs up, that's a big thumbs up, similar to the kind of thing you might see on Broadway. I want to do a tap dance at the local DMV. I want to give a lap dance to a Starbucks employee. Getting a new tattoo, or possibly 2 or 3. I want to stack the entire cast of 3. do a dream ballet. Should you ignore us, we'll add a chorus and we'll form a kick line. What do you say? Life can be as wonderful, magical, adjective, swell as something you may or may not possibly see on Broadway. Please let us go and try new things today. Make our lives as fabulous as Broadway. So Aladdin is coming to Broadway. And I'm really so excited because first of all, we've been able to get in so many of the songs that Howard and Ashton and I originally wrote for Aladdin that weren't able to make it in there. And it's the same story you know, but it has a little twist to it in that Aladdin's sidekicks, Babcock and Mark, the scene, kind of help narrate, you know, like a Hope Crosby road picture kind of element, and it's really fun. Still no mother. But he sings to her in heaven. Anyway, here's a song to the moment when the genie, you know, genie saves Aladdin again, and he said, and Aladdin had promised, you know, my third wish, I'm going to free you, and so genie says, you know, and Aladdin said, oh yeah, I'm going to honor that agreement. You save me, I'll save you. I won't bear what 23 skidoo say. Ain't it great to know somebody's got your back? That I owe you, that you owe me, means we're ollie ollie oxen free. Say, ain't it great to know that somebody's got your back? Oh, it's new that I can trust you, kid. Oh, it's quid pro quo and then it's pro quid. You see, fair is fair. Cross my heart, double baby swear. Say, ain't it great to know that somebody's got your back? Say, ain't it great to know somebody's got your back? Oh, without Genie we don't stand a chance. Oh, this is the start of a fine romance. Our bond laughs like nothing chefs. OMG, the guys at BFF say, ain't it great to know that somebody's got your back? It's give and take, tip and tap on the Jimmy things up, I'm down with that. It's book the flat comes easily. It's part of genealogy. We don't do tricks like genies do, but we got your back and sing back up too. Say, ain't it great to know somebody's got you? Ain't it great to know somebody's got you? Ain't it great to know somebody's got you? Hey, got your back. You're the reason why we do this, honestly. We write these songs and we're one half of the equation, and you love these songs and you are the other half of the equation. And we write them for you. How does she know that you love her? How do you show her you love her? How does she know that you really, really, truly love her? It's not enough to say to when you love her, granted. You must remind her or she'll be inclined to say, how do I know he loves me? How do I know he's mine? Well, does he leave a little note to tell you you are on his mind? Send the yellow flowers when the sky is gray. Hey, he'll find a new way to show you a little bit every day. That's how you know. That's how you know he's your love. show her you need her. Don't treat her like a mind reader. Each page is something to lead her to believe you love her. Everybody wants to live happily ever after. Everybody wants to know that true love is true. How do you know he loves you? How do you know he's yours? Well, does he take you out dancing just so he can hold you close? Dedicate a song with words meant just for you. Oh, he'll find a new way to tell you with the little things he'll do. That's how you know. 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 That's how you know he's your love. That's how you know. That's how you know he's your
How about one last musical goodnight kiss? Ladies and gentlemen, Richard Sherman and Alan Menken. Richard Sherman and Alan Menken. I think they went to Trader Sam's. They might not have plans at Trader Sam's, but I know most of you do. All right, so this is going to be as subtle as a forest fire. Have you two ever written a song about the world?
A world. Have you?
I can show you the world, shining, shimmering, splendid. Tell me, princess, now when did you last let your heart decide? I can open your eyes, take you wonder by wonder, over, sideways, and under, on a magic carpet ride. A whole new world, new fantastic point of view. No one to tell us no, or where to go, to say we're on the dream. A whole new world, a dazzling place I never knew. But now from way up here, it's crystal clear. Now I'm in a whole new world with you. Unbelievable sights, indescribable feeling, soaring, tumbling, freewheeling through an endless diamond sky. A whole new world, 100,000 things to see. I'm like a shooting star, I've come so far from where I used to be. A whole new world with blue horizons to pursue. I'll chase them anywhere, there's time to spare. Let me share this whole new world with you. A whole new world, that's where we'll be. A thrilling chase, a wondrous place for you and me.
Go ahead, Richard. I think you have a song for us.
But yeah, I'm going to play a song that I've been told I either be kissed or killed for having written this. And you're way ahead of me, I know. But Bob and I wrote this thing, and I'm going to ask you to do me a favor, if you would be so kind. I don't have two heads, and this was written as a counterpoint, you know, so that the two melodies go at the same time. You've heard of those things. and I was just hoping that when I finished doing the first part, if you would help me. These people don't know this song too well. But okay.
Well, if they catch on, you write very, very catchy tunes. So if you guys catch on, please, maybe you'll join with me, help me out with him.
We'll wing it, you know?
We'll just wing it.
It's a world of laughter, a world of tears. It's a world of hopes and a world of fears. There's so much that we share that it's time we're aware. It's a small world after all. There is just one moon and one golden sun, and a smile means friendship to everyone. Though the mountains divide and the oceans are one, it's a small world after all.
It was just announced today at the Legends Fair. 2015, be there, be where? We will be here.
Yes.
Well, if everything goes well.
Yes, we will be here.